Sooner or later, we have to make a choice on the type of podcast we want to be. Good podcast or bad, whatever we choose, people probably won't give a shit. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast. This is our bro back. Leading up to Wonder Woman coming out this week, we are going back through the DCEU, and today we were reviewing the 2013 movie directed by Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, that started it all. I'm your host, Jeff Hornacek. Let's go around and meet the other two bros. How appropriate for this movie, as Jor-El was the head of the science division on the planet Krypton, so is Brian Banner the head of science for the Bro 4 Squad. Banner, I'm glad that you made it off of whatever planet we were from before it exploded.
Yeah, we do a lot of science here on this podcast, so if you need some science shit, just come to me and I'll just science it up with some science stuff.
That sounded legitimate because of how well placed the word science was in that sentence. And as if
just
it could not
science.
As if it could not be any more appropriate, General Zod was the very abrasive, very aggressive leader of the army of Krypton. So is Matt Geiger that for the Bro 4 Squad. Matt, I promise we will not banish you to the Phantom Zone before the end of this review.
That's not something I can promise.
Let me just share with our listeners what I'm wearing right now. White t-shirt, blue jeans, a red cape, which I ripped from our ceiling as our curtains, and both of my knuckles are on my hips. I'm ready to kick some fucking ass.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the most comfortable pose, but if I know anything about you, you're going to stay in it just out of sheer pride. If you've never listened to a Bro 4 Squad review before, we like to grade every movie on 5 criteria: the cast, the story, our favorite scene, any lasting impact, and its rewatchability. So let's jump right into the cast. Geiger, you are our resident DC fan. What do you think of the cast that Zack Snyder put together for Man of Steel?
So I'll just name the whole cast in basically relevance, and I'll just pick one, and you guys can pick one too. Cavill, which I know Banner won't pick. Adams, Diane Lane, Kevin Costner, Lawrence Fishburne, Russell Crowe, and Michael Shannon. I'll take Cavill because no one else will. He's the best Superman we ever had. I know Christopher Reeves. Whoa, I know. Michael Valentine is probably just...
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots. Cavill's the best Superman we ever had. You know why? Because he's in shape. He actually looks like Superman. He is ripped. He's built. Him with the glasses at the very end is fantastic. And it's hard to play Superman. It really is. I think he does a fantastic job. I buy him in this movie. I don't buy him and Adams as much. I'll get into that later. But I think he did a fantastic job. Going kind of as an outcast a la Batman Begins kind of storyline, I thought Cavill did a fantastic job, and he really leads this movie. I really feel that way.
In terms of in shape, though, Christopher Reeves was like the most in shape person in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, in the 60s, as long as you went on a jog once a week and smoked just a pack of cigarettes, you were in shape. That doesn't count for me. That's not Superman.
You're a triathlete.
Sounds like I'm in shape then, guys.
Yeah. Banner, what do you got for cast?
Well, first off, I hate Cavill. I just don't buy the way that he delivers the lines. He has the look, I'll give you that. But as far as the way he delivers the lines and stuff, I don't like him. Amy Adams is the only one that has chemistry in the two of them in their relationship. So again, that doesn't really work for me. I'm going to talk about Michael Shannon. I think he is the best. He does the best performance in this movie. He's fantastic. He's menacing, and you totally buy why he is doing what he's doing, and you understand his agenda. Whether you agree with it or not, you understand why he's doing it. I thought he was fantastic. So, Jeff, I'm pretty sure I just stole your...
Yeah, you did, but Michael Shannon...
Jeff has a boner for Michael Shannon.
Yeah, Michael Shannon is one of the best-kept secrets in Hollywood. The guy's fucking stupid talented. If you haven't seen The Night Before, go see it, and you'll see the type of range
Dude,
he has.
He can do comedy, he can be a villain, he can do it all.
He can be whatever he wants.
I also thought Costner did really well in this.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So why don't do you want to just take every character and then no one else needs to talk?
Can I talk about Crow, too, before you talk?
Yeah, and then also, does anyone here want to talk about Diane Lane? Pa Kent, Kevin Costner was my character.
You just say the movie sucks, so it's fine.
Kevin Costner as Pa Kent was my favorite part. I think he had some of the most poignant scenes and some of the most important scenes in terms of Clark's character development. And I don't think there was a better relationship or one that I bought more than that of young Clark Kent and Pa Kent by Kevin Costner in this movie. So, on to the story and plot. Banner, I'll let you go first on this one.
Superman's origin it's kind of played out. We've seen it several times. I'm not the biggest Superman fan in general, so this is kind of skewed for me. I did like the extended edition better than the theatrical, and it gets better every time I watch it. Still, it was okay. It's just middle of the pack for me.
Geiger?
This is the best Superman film we've ever had story-wise, I feel. I think they got their origin pretty much right. I listen to the Angry Joe podcast a lot, and he's a big Superman fan. We'll have to tweet this at him. And I agree with him that this is the best Superman origin we ever had. I mean, they messed it up a lot. The Christopher Reeve one was pretty good. The Brandon Routh one was terrible. I thought Krypton was very well done. I thought that was very well done. It led me wanting more, but the thing is, we got to get back to Earth, man. We got to get him grown up and actually have a Superman film. Clark's childhood was fantastic with him and Costner. Costner just being a father figure, knowing that he's basically kind of a god, but still raising him as a kid to, like, not use your powers. You got to figure out kind of what man you want to be. And Diane Lane was fantastic in this as his mother. Whenever he was having those problems in elementary school and all the kids thought he was a freak and he can hear everything, and she was like just kind of talking him down, like, you know, we have great mothers, like every mother does that. The only thing I did not buy, Lois and Clark's love connection, and I thought it was Adams. I guess growing up in a comic book and, you know, I married a brunette, I always thought, you know, Lois Lane should be a brunette. I didn't like her casting. I love her, but I thought there's a bunch of great brunettes in Hollywood that they could have casted. I don't like Lois Lane being a redhead. I just don't buy it. And I didn't buy their love connection. I thought their story was really bland at best.
I'll echo most of that. The one thing that I wanted more of was them on Krypton initially. I feel like, I know we got Russell Crowe on the Kryptonian ship a lot later, even though he was passed away. But I wanted a lot more of him on Krypton, specifically him and Zod and their relationship. But to your point, Geiger, I mean, it's a Superman origin story. You got to get to Superman and sort of his coming of age at a certain point. So I get why Snyder limited it to sort of just the first half of the first act. But to me, that stuff was really cool. And now that the technology is where it is, just to get to see Krypton like that would have been awesome to get it in a few more scenes. To best scene, Geiger, what do you have for Man of Steel's best scene?
This is easy for me, man. And the sad part, again, DC shoots himself in their own foot. It's in the trailer. The Zod Shannon commercial scene, whenever it's like, you're not alone, I traveled across the ocean of stars, and Clark's just in I'm from the Midwest, man. I love that Superman's from Smallville's not an actual town, but it's in Kansas. I grew up in Missouri. I love that he's just in Kansas making dinner, drinking a beer with his mom. He sees that, he's like, dude, they're coming for me. These are these people. He's like, you have one of ours. He may look like you, but he's not one of you. He's like, either surrender him or your Earth is going to suffer the consequences. I loved how it was in English, and then when you looked at it, like in India, it was like speaking a different language. It was fantastic. That scene gives me chills as much as the Tom Hardy Breaking Bad man's back gives me chills. That was a fantastic scene.
Yeah, that scene definitely had a lot of kind of Nolan homages, who was a producer in the movie. My best scene was, again, back on Krypton. It was the coup that Zod staged when he realized that the planet was dying and that drastic action needed to be taken. Him and Crows, I mean, that's just two heavyweight actors doing fucking acting right there. And I wish we could have gotten more of it, because that was Shannon at his best, and Russell Crowe, obviously before he was posthumously in the movie, with a chance to kind of go toe-to-toe with him. You felt the desperation, you felt the stakes. It was just an awesome way to open the movie and really get the adrenaline pumping early. Banner, what was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is when Superman first meets Zod's cronies, when they're fighting like through Kansas. It's Zod and the two Zod dudes. I don't know what they're called. I'm sorry.
Zodettes?
I'm terrible. The Zod dudes.
Fine, go ahead.
But it was super well choreographed. Obviously, there was a lot of special effects thrown into there, but you didn't really notice it. They're just throwing each other through buildings, and it's the first time you really see Superman use his Superman powers, and I thought that was really cool, and he actually had kind of an equal for the time, and it was just a fantastic fight scene.
Can I piggyback off that real quick, Jeff, before we go?
Yeah.
That's a fantastic scene, basically, because Superman gets pissed to use his powers because they mess with his mother, which is awesome. Whenever he just takes Zod through that
cornfield,
fucking cornfield and just like, you shouldn't have messed with my mother and just punching the shit out. That's a fantastic scene too. This movie does have some pretty good scenes.
Effects on pop culture or lasting impact is 4th out of 5th category. This one's pretty simple. I'll run through mine real quick. You guys will all probably say that it started the DCEU for various reasons, but I think for me, it got the taste of Superman Returns out of our mouth, and for that alone, I thank Zack Snyder. Geiger, what do you got?
This isn't very big for me in impact, and basically because they messed up. Marvel already had a plan. Even though if Iron Man tanked, they still had a plan. It was kind of a ballsy move to tease the Avengers at the end. We didn't get any after, post, mid-credit scene, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Didn't get one. They could have had one Krypton. I think there was a rumor that Kryptonite was going to show up to Wayne Manor at the end of it. That would have been fantastic. That would have had a bigger impact on pop culture than this. This didn't have anything. We didn't know what this was leading to at all.
Banner?
All right, well, I'll take the low-hanging fruit here. It started the DCEU, guys. Regardless of our feelings on the DCEU or what Warner Brothers has done or is doing with it, it started it. Without this, we wouldn't have those other movies. And they are attempting to recreate what Marvel Studios has done with the MCU. Whether you agree, disagree, like, or dislike that, that's still a huge impact on pop culture.
All right, last category is rewatchability. Banner, we'll just boomerang right back to you. How often will you rewatch Man of Steel?
You know, for me, it's not super high. I'll rewatch it every maybe 6 or 8 months. Like I said, Superman's just not my guy. It's kind of hard for me to watch it. It's kind of a long movie. It takes a little while to get going. But it is a good watch. I don't know that I've ever admitted that before on air, but I will say it. It is a good watch.
I got
maybe
it recorded.
every 6 or 8 months.
Geiger, what do you got?
I'm kind of the same as Banner, twice a year. But I'm weird. I'm part of a podcast with Banner making me watch X2 every 2 weeks and Jeff making me watch every single Fast and the Furious movie. I don't have that much time because I have a job, so I can't watch some of my favorite DC movies as much as I'd like, but this is a good watch. I admit that it's kind of dark, I guess, kind of dry, not as fun, so it's not as easy to watch as maybe a Spider-Man movie or an Iron Man movie, but I can watch it 2 or 3 times a year.
Well, we got to talk, because I don't think, Banner, I knew you had a second job outside of the podcast. We'll talk about that once the show ends. That's kind of fucked up that this is how I have to find out. For me, rewatchability, this was actually on TV this week, and I watched about 15, 20 minutes of it. If Michael Shannon's on screen, I'm not turning away. But kind of like Banner said, it's a little bit slower getting into. I do like the movie. It gets better every time I see it, but it's not something that I'm going to pop in like every month or so. But it's still a good film, and I'm glad that Zack Snyder gave it to us. All right, guys, that'll do it for our Broback review of Man of Steel. For our resident scientist, Brian Banner, and the leader of our army, Matt Geiger, I'm Jeff Hornacek. Be sure to check us out on all of our platforms, broforcesquad.com for all of our content. Subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes. That's Bro4Squad. 3 words. Follow us on Twitter, @Bro4Squad. Give us a like and interact with us on Facebook, Bro4Squad Podcast. We will see you next time, where actually this time we are getting banished.